You do know there's some truth to every fairy tale. Trolls, a Netflix original from writer-director Roar Uthong. I really hope I got somewhere close to pronouncing that name correctly. And he most famously directed the 2018 Tomb Raider movie starring Alicia Vikander, who, my goodness, can we have her in more movies? She's not in this. However, somebody else that is in this is Anna Maria Willeman. I really hope I got this right. This takes place in Norway, so I'm only going to attempt to pronounce her name, and Kim Falk, who plays Andreas. Andreas. Okay, so anyway, in all seriousness, Miss Wilmon plays Nora, who is a geologist. She studies dinosaur bones, and she has a bit of a past with her father, and deep in the Dovre Mountains in Norway, somewhere in Norway, I'm not really that familiar with Norwegian geography, I know, a bit shocking, there is, wait for it, sit down, grab a drink, relax. It's about a troll, I know, a movie called Troll about a troll. How weird. This trailer dropped within the last week or two. I was shown it by a friend of mine in San Antonio, and I decided, what the hell, why not give it a shot? I didn't realize it was coming out that soon. I thought it was dropping in a week or two, but deep in the Dovre Mountains, well, there's some tunneling going on because they decide we're going to create a tunnel in a mountain. Well, they awaken something. It's a troll, by the way. Again, sorry, maybe a bit of a spoiler, probably not, considering the movie's called Troll. And the troll decides to wreak havoc. First, just, stomping around the land, destroying a house. Fortunately, not killing the dog. That's good. Don't want to see dead animals anywhere. And starts going to more populated areas. And the Prime Minister basically says, okay, we need somebody on the scene. The military is ready. They're ready to strike, but we need somebody to figure out what this is. Enter Nora. Based on how Miss Wilman looks, I would definitely, never mind about that. She is beautiful. She is absolutely beautiful. I just want to say that right there. I haven't seen her in any movies. May check out some more stuff that she's been in, if you know anything. And it's on some streaming services that work in this country. Please let me know, and I'll see if this is just a one-time decent performance that she's pulled out. So anyway, because she's a geologist, she knows about old bones and old souls. She is recruited to basically figure out what it is, even though there's photographic evidence from footprints to footage of a goddamn 150-foot troll stomping around. We still don't know what it is. And then, once they figure out what it is, they have to figure out how to stop it before it destroys cities and gets to the capital of Oslo, where it will destroy everybody and affect so many lives and tear shit up, just like trolls are known to do. Okay, the one thing I did like about this movie is it doesn't take itself so fucking seriously. It's actually dripping with enough atmosphere and at least enough good-natured pacing, and it has just a nice feel to it. It feels like a throwback to the King Kong Godzilla movies of just having more fun. Sure, it maybe doesn't embrace the whole troll thing like Troll Hunter did. I would argue Troll Hunter was a little bit better, if not a lot bleaker. In fact, I should retro-review that at some point. But this handles the whole mythology of trolls, I think, just fine. And there's a chance that we could possibly see more of these just based if the traffic is good enough and if the feedback is good enough. Who knows? The studio that did this, whatever the studio's called, it's Norwegian. Probably couldn't pronounce it even if you paid me 50 grand. They may try to do more of this because based just solely on what happens here, it feels like they're trying to set up a potential franchise. And we get in the beginning, there was rap, as the Lord and Savior Dr. Dre once said. We get Tobias, a father with a young Nora, and then we get rock climbing. Joel Cambot, rock climbing. Crow, rock climbing. If you get that, I absolutely love you guys. If you don't, study up on your MST3K a little bit more. And he talks about fairy tales and stuff like that, and then we smash cut 20 years later, she's digging up dinosaur bones, and all this stuff starts happening, all the stuff I described, and there's some comedy from Kim Falk's character, Andreas, who's the assistant to the Prime Minister. It has some Shawn Michaels eyes going on. That's really cruel, but it's also not wrong if you've seen the movie. It also isn't wrong unless you don't know who the hell Shawn Michaels is. Meaning, if you're not a wrestling fan, that is deeply confusing to you. And if you're a fan of Shawn Michaels, it's deeply infuriating. But nevertheless, there's the typical cliches of the military wants to take down this troll, but others want to try to study it. They want to try to maybe not reason with it, but figure out why all of a sudden this troll is awakened. What is going to happen? It's nothing new. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, and there's nothing really surprising about this movie, but it does have enough heart and enough good pacing to it, and it doesn't last long. I think by the time the end credits start, it's maybe 95 minutes. And that's good. That's really, really good, because with a movie like this, you don't need to overstay its welcome. It doesn't need to overstay its welcome. They just need to get in, get out. They need to do really good. That's what she said. And also, there's just a typical character. There's not a whole lot of depth to a lot of these characters. No, there are a few good scenes with between Tobias and Nora. And then also, the stuff about the troll. Once you learn more about the troll, you find out why it is the way it is, what its motivations are. Besides just being an angry, bearded troll with a tail for some reason. I'm not saying the trolls don't have tails. I just don't recall seeing that many trolls with tails. There is another writer, by the way. I feel bad for not saying that. But Espen Aken. Oh, you even got the Jay Sherman tape recorder. Akem. Anybody that remembers The Critic, I love you guys. He's done shorts in something called Viking Ulven. I thought it was Viking Vulva at first, and I'm just not going to say anything. I'm sorry to anybody that actually was on that show or movie or whatever it was. But Roar Uthang actually does a pretty good job keeping a good pace going. Again, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's not necessarily something that you have to go out of your way to just, look for something deep in, but it turns out to be a lot of fun. It's not great, but it turns out to be a lot of fun, a lot better than a lot of originals that have come out on various streaming services. So if you got a Netflix account, absolutely check it out. Though be prepared to read subtitles. Don't listen to it in the English language, just read subtitles. It's not that hard. It's better than the original language. My opinion. I'm sticking with it. But let's get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay, so there's this whole thing after Tobias and Nora kind of go their separate ways. Her mother has passed away. She has a strained relationship with her father because he kind of went absolutely insane, studying up on trolls and everything. And they hammer a lot of shit in at the last little bit, which makes me think that that it was at times a little bit uneven, but Andreas believes her, kind of probably has a bit of an attraction to her. Then again, you take a look at the actress playing Nora. Can you blame him? And there's also a military guy named Chris, who Kris, and he believes her, and he wants to try and find a way to do what's right by his job, but also he believes her and believes that there's a way to take care of this. They discover how to take care of trolls. Certain things in fairy tales didn't work. Certain things do. They can't be in sunlight, so they can be out in the daytime if it's cloudy, but if the sun comes, then the UV rays turn them to stone. That's basically it right there. They're also super strong. It is impossible to kill them unless you put them in direct sunlight, or unless you chop them up with a giant meat cleaver. I assume that only Paul Bunyan would be able to goddamn swing. And that's pretty much it right there. I mean, you get the typical military cliches. People want to blow it up. Some people want to reason with it. They do all this, and then there's an actress that plays, I don't know the name, but the character of Sigrid. This is her first movie. She was cute. Let's see what else she can be. I looked at her name and I wouldn't even try to pronounce it. I wouldn't even try to. But there was one cool scene where they are around after the troll breaks through a house. It's resting. And then everybody's just gathered around wondering what the hell is going on. And then they all of a sudden look, oh shit, this mountain, this little, hill range that wasn't there before is suddenly there, and it wakes up, but it's waking up in broad daylight, except it's cloudy, so it's not going to get hurt, and tries to get the helicopter. A little bit later, they find out that it hates church bells, so they use church bells to scare the goddamn thing. Before that, Tobias tries to reason with it after a military strike goes really, really south. But then this tank shoots at it, and even though he's listening to Tobias, the troll somehow understands him and somehow believes him and recognizes that he is a good-hearted person. He ends up getting killed because the troll inadvertently hits him, doesn't mean to, but he's trying to take out the boom boom thing that is trying to kill him. And then also things they find out that, the Christianization of Norway led to the destruction, the extinction of trolls. What do you mean? Well, a little bit later we find out that Andreas is friends with the Prince Chaplain, or the Royal Chaplain. Royal Chamberlain. A very, very old guy. That's like Norwegian Christopher Plummer. Seriously, look at the guy. It's insane. His name is Sitting. And while this strike is about to happen, they're going to use these experimental missiles to blow the thing to smithereens. They evacuate Oslo. They say, look out for one another and God bless us all. And our fatherland. For the glory of the fatherland. Oh, that's a good one. But anyway, it turns out this Chamberlain knew her dad, and basically her dad knew all about this, underground tunnel area where the old Troll King used to live. And then the house was built on top of it. And they murdered all these trolls somehow killing them all. It was an ambush. They killed them all years ago. And then took this other troll, the troll that they're dealing with right now, that's coming for Oslo and coming for this particular area. They took him to the mountains and separated him. And spoiler alert, it wasn't just him. There's another one. But they decide, well, shit, we need to take care of this troll. So they get in an old truck that my dad would absolutely have loved because it's a very vintage 1960s truck. It looked really, really cool. And it ended up, they end up taking the skull of one of the trolls, maybe the Father, maybe the Son, maybe the Holy Spirit. They put it on the truck. They talked to Chris. Chris, we have this idea. UV rays kill it, because she had a UV flashlight that was frying the bones. So she says, quick, you need to help me. Please help me, help me, help me. Spock, help me. So he gets a bunch of UV ray panels from a store that just sells obscenely large UV panels, or he broke in there and stole them. We didn't actually see that. He sets it up. They are racing along this bridge. Once the troll sees the skull, he's pissed, and then sees his reflection after grabbing the skull. Then the skull falls out of his hand and shatters. Now he's really pissed. So you killed him again. You made me break the skull. No! So he chases after them. They get the UV rays and they're frying him, and they're just frying him and everything, trying to turn the stone or killing him. And then she decides to shut him off. And then says, go back to the mountains. Go, stop, don't do this anymore. Then Sun comes up and turns him to stone, and he dies. And there's this bit of a bonding moment just before he turns to stone and shatters, and that's it. That's it. Everybody's happy. Andreas, who had talked about being a writer earlier in the movie, is going to go be a writer. He had submitted his resignation and said, that's it, I'm done. Then he had to go get his card back to get out of the military facility, which was comedy, I guess. Sometimes a comedy lands, sometimes it doesn't, but it is what it is. And everything's fine. Oh, wait, they cut back to the mountain, and there is another one. There is another troll. So we're probably going to get Troll 2, Out for Revenge, Boogaloo. It gets a B. It's not incredibly, it's inoffensive. It's fine. I have certainly seen far worse, and as far as a monster movie, it maybe doesn't reach the heights that it should, and sure, it's a little bit and also, I mean, a lot stupid, but it ends up being fun. It's fun overall. It's a breezy time, and I give it a B. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Riplin. I'll see you soon.